Hey everybody, welcome to your first college essay. I'm so excited to be working on this with you, and I wanted to show you an example so you have a sense of what you're doing. It's much easier to work towards something if you can see where you're trying to go. So here's a sample student essay. First thing to notice is how the essay itself is set up, how it's formatted on the page. Notice we have the student name, we have the professor name, the class, that would be like ENG 033-030 or whatever your class is, and the date. Then we have a title. Titles are fun. You should enjoy your title, but make sure your title says something useful about your topic. Think about what kind of titles you like to see and what you find useful in a title, and try and do something like that. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about titles. They're not something that I am really hung up on, but they can be good for your reader, and they can also help you get crystal clear where you want to go with your essay. So first thing, in the introduction gives some context, some background to what the person is talking about. And then this person ends their introduction with their thesis. That's generally where your thesis should go. Your thesis is the main idea of your whole essay. It often is the answer to a question. So for our essay, the question is, who gets to be lucky? And the way you answer that question is your thesis. You might even, in your introduction, ask that question and answer that question with your thesis. This person has a rhetorical question as his thesis, meaning it's a question we all know the answer to. So there's his thesis right at the end of his introduction. Then he goes into his body paragraphs. Each body paragraph starts with what's called a topic sentence. That's a sentence that tells you exactly what that paragraph is about. Then he has some discussion, right? So he has his idea here. The topic sentence is also what we call the idea of a paragraph. Then he's got discussion. Then he's got a quote that he's going to use to build his ideas even more. Notice it is MLA formatted. That means it gives the author's name, Beverly Daniel Tatum. It gives the title of the article, and then it has the quote, the exact words of the quote, not close, not what you remember, the exact words of the quote in quotation marks, just like this. You don't have to give the whole title of the article every time you use a quote, but you should always give the author's name. So the second time this person quotes, let's see if we have a second quote here. We can't find one. There we go. Well, you don't have one here. But he might, in a second quote, say something like, Tatum also says, comma, quote, and then quote marks, and then have the actual quote. Okay? So his paragraph has, just a review, it has an idea that the whole paragraph is about. That's called a topic sentence. It has some discussion, and it has a quote. Okay? And then he gets into particular details about that quote by using some examples. That's how you can develop your ideas. Here's another paragraph, another good topic sentence, and he relates it to his thesis. Make sure you're always coming back to that thesis statement, always explaining what it is your whole essay is about. Finally, at the end of his essay, he goes back to where he started, connects back with his introduction, and restates his main idea. Now this essay is a little bit short, but that's okay. If your essay is not a lot longer than this because it is the first one. But that gives you an idea of what you should have in your essay. You should have an introduction with some background, a question, and a thesis. Each paragraph should have an idea, a quote, and a discussion. If you have a paragraph that doesn't have a quote, that's okay, as long as you're really discussing in depth. Make sure you're using at least 3 sources, and make sure that you revise. Check out our Magic of Revision video, and I can't wait to see your writing.